Welcome to this short series on the CB350. This is a new bike I've just picked up, and alright, it's not going to be a restoration because normally I do restoration stuff and it's 20 and 30 videos long. I'm not going to do that with this. This is going to be more a recommission type job. Now, it looked like it started as a very, very clean bike and it's been half converted to cafe racer type style. So, I have a history with these things. I had a CB354 as a kid. We had dirt bikes and all that sort of stuff, and we used to get anonymous complaints from neighbours, and so somehow I convinced my parents to let me have a road bike. And of course I picked up this, I was thinking of a CB175 or a 200, you know, a little twin cylinder thing, and I saw this 4-cylinder 350. I thought, oh god, I have that. I was only little, I was about 14 or something. It was way back in 1982, and my parents, to their credit, paid for it, let me have it. Of course we went and picked it up in the old XD Falcon, which I went and picked this one up in the very same car. So it was kind of nice. But at the end of the day, I had more fun on that bike than any other bike I've had. Now, I haven't had a lot of bikes. This will be my 9th or 10th one. But I just saw it and I thought, you know what? They're getting unusual. Got to get a hold of that. Now, the frame's been cut. A lot of the stuff has got a hoop on the back of it, all this sort of thing. And so what I want some advice, or at least some opinions on what you reckon I should do with it. Now, I'm a stock type guy. Normally when I restore something, I restore it to original, if you know what I mean, with a few improvements along the way. So this one has been pretty well disassembled completely and converted. Now, most of the original parts are there. The only thing I can see the only thing I can't see, or the only bit that's missing, handlebars, which is nothing. So, and switchgear. I can't find the original switchgear, but that can be replaced. So anyway, look, see what you reckon. Pretty pumped about this. Those interested in the CB750 runs very well, but we do have a miss, and I'll talk about that later. You'll see that. That video is on the way. And those interested in the XC restoration and the cars, the Plymouth and that sort of stuff, generally in the winter, I like to do the small stuff where I don't have to crawl around on the ground underneath the car, because that really sucks. Particularly when it's raining all the time and it's cold out here, and I've got to push the other cars out to get this thing out. So the XC restoration will be going ahead, and it'll be going ahead in spring, as I said last year, which I lied about because I didn't get into it till summer. But I was doing an XL and some lawnmowers and other bits and pieces, but that is coming back. So I hope you enjoy this. It's pretty special for me. I wasn't intending to get another bike, but of course, me being me, I like projects, and I saw this and I thought, you know what, I've got to get it. They're not fast, these things. This one's very low slung. It looks pretty cool, but I'd be interested in getting your opinion on it. So I hope you enjoy. This is a CB350F, it's the 4-cylinder model. I'm no stranger to these. This is the second one I've had. The first one was when I was a child, and these things are a bit of a favourite of mine. They're not very powerful bikes. They're I had a 350 twin as well, and the twin was a lot stronger in the mid-range and the sort of low-end torque. But in a drag race, I reckon these would probably run the twin down. They're very high revving, very smooth motorcycle. Now, this was purchased by the original owner, or the chap I purchased it off, for $3,600 in, I think, February 2014, as a good complete bike. And he has gone about converting it to a cafe racer type bike. Here's the tank. I'm not going to squeeze that on, but you get the picture. Some of the things they've done exceedingly well on this bike, and some things I wish they hadn't done. The quality of parts they've bought do seem to be very good. I'm in two minds what to do with it though. I always like a good original standard build. I like originality. I don't really like project bikes. But there are a few things on this I'm going to change around. Look, some of it I can't. The wheels were redone with stainless spokes. And it's got Metzler tyres, which look pretty good, so they can stay. But some of the other stuff I'm not that keen on. We'll take that off again, and I'll get the camera off its tripod and show you what I'm talking about. Now, what is quite a shame is the fact they've cut the frame. Originally, they had the two tabs coming at the back for the rear guard to be mounted on. This has all been taken off. All the mounting points have been removed for your air box and that sort of thing. It's got pod filters on it. I prefer the original airbox. They have a sort of velocity stack arrangement which speeds up air as it goes past the jet. They're actually more efficient for standard jetting and standard exhaust and that sort of thing. So your battery box, that's been cut under there. There's normally a sort of a bracket with a thread in it. And all these other points here have been removed. Now, there's a chap on eBay that's got a cut for one of these. It's sort of here, cut there, and it's got the original bits at the back. It's probable that some people are returning these sorts of bikes back to stock. I know they do with cars, and there's a story of a XY GT Falcon replica that was quite a good one that was actually purchased, and then it was discovered it was an ex-New South Wales Police highway interceptor, and of course all that GT kit was removed and the car was returned to stock. So it's probable that that's the case with some of these old Hondas. Apparently it's a good healthy engine. I don't know, I've not heard it running. The wiring is a bit of a bird's nest, but we can certainly fix that. Wiring is one of our favourite things. Kit like that, can you see that? The Honda, that's milled billet. That's actually a nice piece. Again, one of the things I like on these is that warning panel with the lights on, so I'm not sure I'm going to keep this. It's got clip-ons on it, a new throttle, and an accessory kill switch and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's sort of one of those things where do we keep it and continue where the project left off, or do we go back to semi-original? There are some aspects of this which I really like, and you know, as I said, there's some stuff I don't, but I think what we'll do is we'll have a look at the parts we've got. It all looks fairly good. I know it turns over. What's the oil like? Has it even got oil in it? They might have drained that. I know the oil filter's not on. Yeah, it's been drained. So I need to put oil in. Basically what I want to do with this is just start the thing and see how it runs. Give it a compression test, all that sort of thing, and just give it a kick in the guts. So what we'll do now is we will have a look through the bounty box of stuff that came with it. I'd love it if those rims were chrome, but they're not. And we'll see what we've got. Of course, also included was this lovely 4-into-1 Sidewinder. This is a nice bit of kit. The chrome's lovely up until you get around the headers, and we've got rust. But it doesn't look like it's gone through. So there's a couple of things we can do with this. We can try and get that off, but I'm tipping that underneath that isn't going to be very chromy. It's going to be pretty dirty. Let's have a look. The best thing probably to do with it is to paint the headers black. Yeah, I think that's beyond. I think that's beyond it really. But I think ultimately what you could do is just paint down to the collector black and just have them as black, and then the rest of it chrome. The it's a little bit 404, although the 404 had a flat collector on the sort of on an angle up the side, but that still looks pretty good. Megaphone style exhaust with the baffle in it, which is cool, so I can use that. That's really good. Stop rocking. Tank is straight as an arrow. There's a little dent there, which is obviously done later on. It's in very, very good condition. We'll just try and get a look inside. With these, you always want to push the lid down before you release it, because that's going to break quite easily. Let's see if we can get a torch in there. I'm looking in there. Oh, I hope it doesn't spark, because we'll blow ourselves up. It is pretty clean. It's a little bit of surface rust, but down the bottom, I don't know if you can see down there, just there, it looks pretty damn good. So that's really usable. It's not like Gary's tank for the 750, but it's still very, very good. So I'm very happy with the tank. That's excellent. More stuff in the bounty. These side covers are wonderful. That's the one I used just in the 750 video I've just finished. It's had a repair, I think. One of them has had a repair. It's just a scratch. Is it this one? It's not been glued down there. Don't know, but it's still in really, really good nick. That's the sort of thing I like. I like seeing the script on the side. These are quite hard to get. They're the chrome sort of fork extensions. That goes on the leg. You've got these bits to sort of go over them like that. It's sort of normally chrome. Somebody's painted that. They're hard to get, and they're also very hard to get off. So a lot of people tend to damage these as they remove them. These have been sort of jimmied off at the bottom, but they're not too bad. I'd be inclined to take the paint off and try and buff out what's underneath. I'm not sure if that's possible. Of course, there at the top, or sorry, the lower leg with the chrome lid that goes on the top. And there's another one at the back there. The headlight bracket that goes down, and there's supposed to be rubber there too. And there's another rubber missing on both of the lower ones, and there's a top one missing as well. It came with carburetor gaskets, and there's a whole lot of other carburetor bits as well, which someone's been through the carbies, which looks pretty good. Brake actuation lever, chain guards all there. Smaller light, I don't know what model that's, an earlier model. That actually is much nicer than the original one, I reckon. And of course it came with, you know, the instrumentation bell that goes down the bottom to mount it to the bike, as well as an aftermarket kill switch. The original switchgear didn't come with this bike, so I don't know where that is. That I took off the bike today. The original spokes and spare indicator lenses and foot peg rubbers and all this sort of stuff. This is the stuff that I like though, this sort of thing, and that I would be inclined to put back on. It does away with the clip-ons and all that. You can probably still use the clip-ons, but I don't know, I just really like this sort of look. That's quintessential four-cylinder Honda to me. So, you know, that's lots of good bits and pieces. There's also the center stand down there, and he's also removed the oil filter for some reason, and that we'll put a new filter element in before we start it up, obviously, and see how we go with that. Front rear guards, these are beautiful, better than the 750s ones in fact. That's going to polish up beautifully, and it's even nice underneath, far nicer than what the other Honda had. And the rear guard, and that again, a bit of pitting under there, but nothing to worry about. There is a guy doing a cafe build, and he's talking about this rolled edge, and he actually ended up sectioning and cutting out a piece and then just joining the back up further. Would look good, but there's no way in a fit I'd cut that. That's just too good, and it's too hard finding good stuff like that too. I mean, that's never been gravel rushed or, you know, buckled or anything like that. That's in really good nick. So that's something to be really happy about as well. What are these? That'll be your front indicators. Front indicator again, another one. Another lens. The original rego number. That's a historic rego. The original throttle slider. The brake pedal. Ignition lock. I hope the bracket's in here somewhere. That's the seat strap. That's a sprocket. What do you call it? Sprocket cover. A lot of the time they're missing. Strap. Fuel tank decal or badge. That looks like the engine. Oh, hang on, what's that? That's where your rear brake switch goes in there. So that's one of the side mounts. Seat lock mount or seat lock thing, and just other brake spring there, and a few stays and bits and pieces. So yeah, that's alright. That's cool. Rear brake spring, need that. All these sorts of bits too, although they're fairly minor, springs and clips and that sort of stuff. They're the bits that are hard to get and expensive too, because all your eBay sellers, and there's one in Victoria here who's the equivalent of that bloody guy I always complain about with the Ford stuff, and he charges an arm and a leg, you know. The seat now, it's got a split. You can get covers for these. This is sort of old, still got its Honda thing there. That's a shame about that, because that's otherwise very, very good. They do go hard though, UV and that sort of stuff, and of course here's the padding for it now. It hasn't got the seat tray or the actual frame of the seat. I know the seller was actually his father that sold it to me, had been working on a seat for it, so he probably cut the original one up to make his cafe racer seat. Oh goodies. Oh, CB350F manual. That's always good. I think I've got one that I originally had with mine. Old school speed. So that would have been where some of the goods came from for this project. Oh my goodness. Oh dear. So hang on, this has all got, it's got its book with it. I can't help being a little bit sad that it wasn't left original. There's wiring diagrams. That's why it's clipped together, because it's all falling apart. But that's the original owner's manual, which would have been a little caddy sort of thing underneath the seat. So that's a good thing to keep. What's in here? Nothing. It's an empty chain box. The original tack, and I remember that 10,000 rev red line, and the speedo, which unfortunately is a bit crazed. I might be able to get a decal for that, but they're hard because I don't want to take that ring off, but I might have to with this one. 32,000 miles, and that seems to work quite well. It's bent, but it's not too bad. Don't know what that is. That looks like a seat hinge or something. Instrumentation mount, one of them. So that's cool. Got the original keys. What I'm looking for is the, what I'd like to get hold of is the, what do you call it? The bracket for the ignition lock. It might be in here. Okay, this looks like all stuff for your rear sets. That's a gear shifter, other bits and pieces, and that's a bracket. Yeah, this is a plug for something. Yeah, so that's all rear set stuff. Your foot peg, and some other hardware bits and pieces in there. So that's really good, but I'm not using them. I'm not going to use those. Your airbox. They're the stacks I was talking about there. Those velocity stacks. And it's got all the clamps there, so that's good. More rear set stuff. Which I don't think we're going to use that air filter. The air filter's in bloody good condition too, look at it. CB350F and CB400F, so that'd be a Super Sport that took this over. That's in impeccable condition, it's barely used. And your electronic gubbins. That's your reg, that's your rectifier, starter solenoid, which we'll probably put on the 750 because mine's a bit dodgy. Your airbox, that's grouse, battery tray, well, part of it, I think. Oh, and there's a strap. Sorry, yeah, there is a strap that goes over there. So that's your battery trays. That's great. I really like that. The side cover, which is not on the engine at the moment, which we'll clean up and put back on. What else is here? Hang on a minute. This is the tray that sits under the seat where your documents go, and that's the cover for it, and they're quite hard to get. They just sort of go over there and your documents and bits and pieces go in there. That, I've never seen one. I've seen a lot of these bikes, but I haven't seen one of those. So that's really, really good. Not much good if you're not going to use the right seat though. Ah yes, the ignition lock. There must be two ignition locks. What's that? That's your tack. Your tack cable. Oh, that'll be alright, we can use that. And the rest of it's just bits and pieces, you know. That's your air intake that goes under the seat into your airbox. The rear indicators, your fuel tank mount rubber, which is in pretty good nick. Your little grid thing that goes over the thing. It's got everything with it. Oh my gosh, the toolbox. And we need these too to put that exhaust on. I remember this, but I can't remember where it goes. Is that a battery cover or something? Let's have a look at this. It's got the... I've got some of those spanners, I think, somewhere. There's a nut. There's something else in here too. Hopefully it's not a friggin' spider. What the hell is that? Oh, fuses. So that would go... Oh my gosh, there's fuses. I might have some other HM or Honda Motors spanners. Now, that is really good kit. This is what makes me want to go original again, because I can put that in that little trinket tray under the seat. I think the 350 Twin had a like a steel tube. You took the lid off and it went in there, but I think these go with your documents underneath the seat in that. I think that's where it went. I think that's incredible. Mirrors, they're in great condition. This bike must have been a minter. That's registered, yeah, 2013. Gosh, what a shame that it wasn't kept on the road. And then the rest of it's just more of the same. Spring, you know, the foot pegs here, and part of a gasket set. There are your little O-rings for the valve inspection covers and some valve stem seals and that sort of thing. Just looking at the condition of these things, that's not been painted, but it's still black. You know, they're in bloody good nick. That's part of that rear set. The rest of it's just those exhaust pinion pegs and your reflectors from the front, gear shift and that sort of thing. So that's a bit of a jewel. That's really, really good. Certainly happy with that. There's even carburetor. They're the needles and holy crap, they're the idle things I had trouble with on the 750. Now, 750, let me talk about that. I have the 750 up and running, but we're down a cylinder, so we've just got to look at that. They're those bloody idle jets. Now, they're different. They're screwing ones. The 750's got the pushing ones, but someone's gone through the carbies, and that's a bit of a coup as well. All told, I'm pretty happy with everything here. Battery strap. Yeah, there's other exhaust bits. 2, 4, 5, 6. There should be another 2. Yep, 7, 8. So you can pop the exhaust on. Oh, look at this. That's the bit they cut off the back. These up. That comes out. The lock's got wear on it. Oh no, it doesn't. It's supposed to do that. That is so cool. Right, so looking at some of this cafe stuff, this is the rear sets that are included with the bike. And of course your gear shift one's here. There's a bracket somewhere in the box that has a spline piece that goes onto the original gear shaft, shift shaft, and it sort of goes with that, and there's swiveling and all this sort of stuff. It's all good, really good quality kit from a joint called Old School Speed. I think they're an American firm. This is the brake one, and of course with this you have to flip your rear brake actuation lever upside down, and that goes where the clevis would go, sort of in between it. Put a bolt through there, and there's your brake pedal, which you actuate and all that sort of stuff. Now, as I said, this is really, really nice stuff. Billet aluminium, looks lovely. The only problem is, this is for a CB350 twin, not a 4, so it doesn't fit. The frame is totally different, particularly up the back, where you've got like a clamp sort of thing where the exhaust goes on, and this all sort of marries up with that. So it's suited to CL and CB350. They're both twin cylinder bikes. Old School Speed have a video, a YouTube video on their website that's a link, and that's when I figured out what the story of this was and the fact why the previous owner didn't fit it. So in addition to that, we have, let's put that to the side, some of these little funky mirrors. They go on your grips. That's dirty, but you get the picture. And the grips that are included with that, it's scratched through, is that just a mark? It looks like it might be having a bit of a scratch in it. Probably polish out. It came with these grips as well. These are really funky looking grips. And there's different end pieces and all sorts of stuff that goes with that. So yeah, there's that stuff, and also the triple tree, which I'm not going to use, I don't think. The more I look into this, the more I want to return it to original. So Scott and Gary, if you want this stuff, I'll just chuck in a box and send it to you, I think. But nice stuff, but not really appropriate to what I want to do. Right, so that is a CB354 with all its parts. Tell me what you think. Should we continue with the cafe build or go back to stock? I kind of like the idea of going back to stock, just given that it was obviously in such good condition before it was disassembled. It just means we'll have a bounty of this sort of thing left over if we do. Having said that, I love how low it is. The other thing is, I had to get David to sort of explain what the difference between trackers and scramblers and cafe builds and brat bikes and all that sort of, brat style and all that sort of stuff was. He tended to think it looked good as a tracker with a sort of we can put all our stuff back in here, and you know, the airbox and the battery and all the electricals, and had the side covers, which I like the scripts on, and just have a sort of a lower seat and that sort of thing. So we've got the black rims. I'm going to call the original owner and just quiz him about it, what condition it was in. If the rims were spotless and there was nothing wrong, I'd probably take the black off. But having said that, they would have been keyed to be painted, so they're probably pretty badly scratched up anyway. So it might be more beneficial just to leave it the way it is. So let me know, what do you reckon? I think the first thing to do is to get it going. If the engine's in great condition, then I think what we'll do is just take it out and give it a quick paint job and polish the covers and just make it sort of look a little bit more like that. This is the 750, of course. You can see the blue on the little header pipes. We've had it running. It runs very well, but we are having problems with a miss in number 4 cylinder, and I'm wondering what that might be. But that's the sort of standard I want the 350 engine to look like. Very easy to do these sorts of details, and the same on the valve cover. This one, of course, the cylinder barrels and the head and everything was hydroblasted. These ones will be painted, because I'm not going to spend much money on this. I have to keep the budget really low, because at the moment my wife is very, very cross with me for having bought this, but I saw it and I just couldn't pass it up. So on that note, please leave comments. I love comments, and I would love to hear what you think or what your take on this is. And drive safely, whatever you do, look after your classic. I'll see you around.